guys, it's Shay, and I thought in this video I would put together 4 high protein meal prep ideas that I've made in the past. I know you guys have been drooling over this, so I thought I would just compile it into one video so you guys can all have some delicious ideas for your meal prep and you can stay on track. So the first one we're gonna do is the bang bang chicken recipe that I found. I don't know, for some reason I was really craving like spicy Thai type of sauce, and I just went on Pinterest and I searched bang bang chicken recipes, you know what I mean? And I just kept pinning things that looked delicious to me, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm just gonna make my own sauce. So I got this VH spicy Thai chili sauce, and then I mixed it with some light Miracle Whip or mayo, mixed that together, and I was gonna make that as like a nice base sauce. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, how do I wanna eat this chicken? So I decided to make like a kind of a wrap style to take with me to go to work. So I would have whole grain wraps, and I'd have the chicken cut up and the sauce on the base, and then I would have like a homemade salsa that I had made on top, you know, trying to make it like a nice healthy high protein lunch. And I succeeded because everyone thought this looked delicious. It was so freaking good. So I season all my meats pretty much the same way. So I just spray on vegetable oil, then I use parsley flakes, cayenne pepper, usually I use paprika, then I'm gonna use some garlic seasoning, and then I'm gonna use the spicy Montreal steak seasoning. So I kind of typically stay around the same style of seasoning. That's just what I like. I don't measure, I just let my ancestors take over, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can throw that in the kitchen, but I can't give you no recipe. So, and then I'm gonna put the spicy Thai chili sauce all over it. Gonna let that chicken marinate. So I marinate my chicken for at least a day or up to like a couple hours. So this time, since it was hot in the summer, I just marinated the chicken and then I left it there for an hour or so, and then we're gonna throw this on the barbecue. Now I find the barbecue adds so much flavor to the chicken. I find that chicken is kind of bland. You know, I've made it different type of ways. I've made it in the oven, you know, I've fried it, all that stuff. Like, I don't know, barbecue just, it hits different, okay? So I wanted to make a nice fresh vegetable type salsa. My goal was to have a side of veggies with every single meal, and that's how I make my balanced meals. I have a protein, I have a carb, and then I have some vegetables. So I just honestly kind of eyeballed what I wanted in it. So I got some tomatoes, some cilantro, some onions. They didn't have any the yellow onions or red onions this time, so I just used white onions. It's fine. I honestly prefer the red onions because you can eat them raw. You can eat these raw as well, but it was just not as great. I really like the purple cabbage. Honestly, it's because of the color. I just think it looks so freaking good, but it tasted delicious. I had actually posted this on Instagram, and one of my coworkers had to copy the recipe because she was like, it looked delicious, and she made it the next week and she was like, oh my god, this is so good. So this is what I do. I literally go on Pinterest, find some inspiration. I typically make my own recipes. I don't really follow a recipe. I've just been cooking for so long, I kind of know what I want to do in the kitchen, and yeah, I just make it my own. The second one is pretty easy. So this is going to be some barbecued vegetables. So I'm using corn and broccolini, and then I'm going to be using some barbecued chicken. So I like to get my chicken breasts from Walmart, and they come in a pack of 4, but I like to cut them in half so that I have more. I have 8 pieces. This just helps cook the chicken. You know, you don't have to cook it as long. I think it just helps spread out the food. So I made this marinade for the vegetables, so I will show you how to make it in a second. But marinating your vegetables, seasoning your vegetables, game changer. You know, who said veggies have to be bland, gross, you know? Even just a little bit of salt, a little salt and pepper, you know? That's all you need. I'm telling you, if you want to eat your vegetables, just season it just a little bit, okay? So in the chicken marinade, I put vegetable oil, garlic seasoning, paprika, spicy Montreal steak seasoning, and dried parsley flakes. Like you saw in the previous section, these are the typical seasonings that I like to use. Then I'm using the Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. This is one of my favorites. So I'm using the sweet and spicy one, and it is delicious. Like, I can have this with everything. And I was craving barbecue, so I was like, you know what? Let's just try to make up this marinade. So I honestly made it up, decided to do it. It was delicious. Like, I let my brother try this. He's like, it tasted like Nando's. And I'm like, oh, damn, okay. So I'm using the same marinade for my corn. I had seen a picture on Pinterest of like this marinated corn, and I thought it looked cool. You know, like the street food type corn. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to make it. So I used the same marinade, except this time I added butter. put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds, let it melt, and then I'm spreading it all over the corn. I let that marinate, sit there for about an hour or so, and then we threw that on the barbecue. And I liked the like the grilling effect of the barbecue, so it kind of made it look like those grill lines, and I just thought it tasted delicious. Okay, number 3, we're gonna do a beef burger with roasted onions and mushrooms. So this was actually from a video where I hosted a barbecue for my 2 closest friends, so Aqual and Hoagie. So this one, I wanted to make like some big burgers, you know what I mean? You know, those big juicy burgers? That was my goal. So I'm hosting this barbecue, so I decided I'm going to make burgers and I'm gonna have some like sides, like some veggies and all that stuff. So I actually prepared these meals beforehand, tested it out, tried it, and I'm like, okay, this is perfect. And then I cooked these the day of for them. So what I did was I took some mushrooms, some tomatoes, I just seasoned the mushrooms kind of similar to the other marinade I showed you before. Every single thing that I do, I just spray some vegetable oil. This is the first time I've ever seasoned beef patties. I don't know if people do that, but people usually just cook it, you know what I mean? But I was like, you know what, I want to add some more flavor, okay? And Aqual and Hoagie could test for this because it was delicious. The mouth was watering, okay? So I'm just marinating all the burgers. I wanted to add a little bit more flavor because it was just plain, you know? So I put some barbecue sauce on this. That was the theme, barbecue sauce, you know? And I wanted them to have grilled vegetables to put onto their burgers. So I grilled some onions, grilled some mushrooms, grilled the burgers, and then I served it nice, hot, and fresh. So I had some cheese, you know, some sliced tomatoes, chopped lettuce for them to build up their burger, and then they brought like macaroni salad and all that stuff. So it was a really nice barbecue, and it was really fun to like get together and see everybody. But yeah, if you want a nice juicy burger, this is the one for you. Next up, another easy one. So we're gonna do barbecue chicken with seasoned zucchini and carrots. So I was really loving like the seasoned vegetables because it helped me eat them. You know, it's giving you some source of sodium. Honestly, it tasted really good. I'm telling y'all, season your vegetables. If you have a hard time eating them, season them, okay? So my goal this summer was to have a serving of vegetables with every single meal. So I wanted protein, a source of carbs, and vegetables. For this meal, I didn't have a source of carbs. I just kept it simple with like the chicken and the vegetables. It's just the easiest thing. It's my go-to. So usually when I do this, I would have more vegetables. But like I said before, I buy a pack of 4 chicken breasts. I cut them in half. It's easier to cook, easier to marinate. I find it has a lot more flavor. So this one, I used my typical seasonings, and then I put some Sweet Baby Ray's spicy barbecue sauce. I spread that out, make sure every single portion of the chicken is nice and covered, and I'm gonna let it sit and marinate for at least a couple hours or a day. Usually I put it in the fridge, let it marinate. That just seals the flavor in, and I also put some vegetable oil. That just helps when it comes time to cooking the chicken. So make sure you guys wash your vegetables. So I'm choosing broccolini and zucchini and some carrots. So I'm gonna be peeling the carrots because I don't really like to eat the skin and I find it's kind of dirty. So I'm just peeling the carrots off. Actually, we took those carrot peels and we put it in our backyard garden as compost, and my plants are happy. So this marinade, I decided to use some butter. I wanted to make it like a nice salty type marinade. So I'm using some butter, a little bit of vegetable oil, garlic seasoning, spicy Montreal steak seasoning, dry parsley flakes, garlic seasoning. Mix that up, put it in the microwave for just about 10 seconds, right until it's getting the nice consistency that you would like. And then I'm just gonna be spreading that over each and every single one of the vegetables. The zucchini tasted delicious. Okay, zucchini has a kind of a sweeter taste, so it tastes like cucumbers, just a little bit sweet. But I realistically had seen a picture on Pinterest of like a roasted zucchini and it had the grill lines, and I'm like, oh, I really want that. So anything I crave, anything I see, I make it. So I made my own recipe, made my own seasoning, and just picked the vegetables that I wanted that were easy to grill. I've seen carrots being cut in half like this, and I just thought it was so cool. I was like, oh, this looks aesthetic. Okay, let me make this, you know? It was a nice summer idea to meal prep. So this is one of the recipes that it's like my go-to. Literally, it's so easy. You just cook any type of protein, My favorite is typically chicken, and then just any vegetables that you would like. And I like to season my vegetables just to give them a bit of flavor so my meals don't get boring. In a previous video, somebody had asked me where I get my containers from, and it's actually takeout containers. So old takeout containers that I use, I just rewash them. They're easy to pack. Honestly, it just makes things a lot more convenient than going out buying a whole plastic Tupperware set. But yeah, just easy to portion out. For me, I like to portion out my food across all 5 days, so the plastic containers all being the same size helps me visualize how much food I will be eating, and it helps me keep track of my appetite and like my eating habits. So I would pack those plastic containers, take that to work with me. I know the portion is enough for me and I can eat that. There's definitely times where I've gotten hungrier, and that's just depending on like my hormone cycle or stress or whatever. So I will pack like some extra lunch, or I'll put some extra vegetables, an extra piece of chicken, you know, just try to do things to make sure that I am well fed, because I go to the gym right after work. So I typically don't like to eat too close to going to the gym, so I will try to eat the most at lunch. Last but not least, I was getting tired of chicken, so I decided to do some barbecue shrimp. So I did this with rice and assorted vegetables. I really love colorful fruits and vegetables, so during the summer I like to just see a lot of color, you know? So for this one I got some Pacific white shrimp. So these are the raw ones, so they do have the shell on it. So I just ran it under some cold water, not hot. You don't want to use hot water because it's going to start to cook the shrimp, and that's not going to be good for you. So I use cold water, just let it soak, let it defrost naturally. I'm cutting up some purple cabbage here to make my homemade salsa. So I'm going to be using some cucumbers, I'm going to be using some tomatoes, white onion, cilantro, and then I believe I use lemon juice, like freshly squeezed lemons. You can either use lemon or lime. It depends on the type of salsa that I'm making. This one, I think there was lemons on clearance, so I think I just grabbed that. But yeah, it's just cutting up all the vegetables. You can season your salsa. Sometimes I do, but this time I was like, the lemon will be overpowering and I feel like I just want the lemon taste, you know? So I was aiming for like a nice, refreshing rice bowl. So I wanted some barbecue shrimp topped with a nice fresh salsa, this beautiful color seasoning, and I delivered. Honestly, this meal was by far one of my favorites, and I literally just come up with these ideas by going on Pinterest, kind of searching like what I was craving. So I'd search in shrimp, just pinned a couple ideas, and I just went and made my own recipe, honestly. So this one, I really wanted to have some nice cucumbers. During the summer, cucumbers are great for hydration, and they're just so easy. They're pretty affordable, and you can do anything with them. So I just chopped these up, and I wanted to do some seasoning. So I used it's Atlantic sea salt, and then I put some spicy Montreal steak seasoning. Looking back on this, if I could change something, honestly, I wouldn't put as much salt, and I wouldn't even put the Montreal steak seasoning, to be honest with you. Like, just a little pinch of salt would go a long way. The Montreal steak seasoning, it was good. It was just so hard to chew. Like, there's definitely like little spicy kernels in there, and I just didn't really like it. So if I could change this recipe, just honestly put a little pinch of salt. That's all you need. So here I am shelling the shrimp. So I'm just deshelling them, deveining them, because they come in their shell, which is fine. And then I'm going to be marinating the shrimp. So I'm going to be using canola oil. I actually ran out of the oil that I normally use. And then I'm going to be using spicy Montreal steak seasoning, paprika, I think some cayenne pepper, and then some garlic seasoning, and then dried parsley flakes. and I'm using the spicy Thai chili seasoning, just mixing all that up, letting it soak for like a couple hours, letting it marinate, and then we're gonna throw this on the barbecue. Now for shrimp, because they're smaller, we had to go buy these like skewers. So I actually got these at the dollar store. They're long skewers. So I just took the time to like impale the shrimp onto each. So I just kind of filled these up with all the different shrimps, and this just made it a lot easier to cook on the barbecue and make sure that I could flip it easily, because I didn't want the like pieces of shrimp to fall into the barbecue and kind of just burn. So I'm just doing that, putting it into a dish platter, and then any excess seasoning and sauce, I just spread it with a brush on top of the leftover shrimp. This was delicious. Barbecue shrimp, honestly, oof, way to go. If I can pick a favorite way to eat shrimp, it is barbecued. The skewers were such a great investment and super cheap, okay? And then my parents wanted to have some steak, so we put that on the barbecue as well, seasoned that up, and we had a summer barbecue cookout. Now I wanted to have some rice with the shrimp, and because I was so extravagant with the shrimp and the homemade salsa, I just wanted to keep it simple with the rice. It was just meant to be like a carb, so I literally just made plain white rice. But what I did was cook the rice in chicken seasoning. So I don't know if you've ever done that. So instead of water, you cook it in the chicken seasoning, and that adds flavor to it. To be honest, the rice didn't have that much flavor. Obviously, it was plain white rice, but you can do whatever you would like. I was just lazy. Honestly, it was so hot. I'm like, I don't have time to be slaving in this kitchen. Like, the whole reason I did a barbecue was so that I could get outside, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you could season up the rice, you know, add some tomato sauce in there maybe. I just wanted it plain, and it was a lot easier to like kind of match the flavors since the salsa and the shrimp were already overpowering. And then I topped off these bowls with the chopped cucumbers. I thought it looked great. Honestly, this is like giving summer vibes, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this looked nice and summery. I got all my veggies in, my carb, my protein. Delicious. The shrimp was so freaking good. So I left the tails on so that when I got to work, I could just grab them and eat them. You could take them off. Honestly, this is a really healthy meal prep idea, and I love it, and I definitely will make it again. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.